overall, the gameplay is so great and explosive, and oh my goodness, you saw the video, and wow, that's all I can say. So, hey guys, Mouse here. Like I promised, I'm gonna be uploading more videos about Ruby, her gameplay, and how she actually fits in a fire team composition. So this is gonna be the second video in this Ruby series. The first one was a closer look at Ruby, her skills, her matrices, advancements, and how they work in particular. We did some tests there as well, so in case you don't know much about Ruby yet, I highly recommend that you watch it first because we're not gonna be focusing only on the specifics about Ruby in this video. Instead, we are going to focus more on the actual gameplay side like the composition, skill rotation, setup, and etc. In this video, we are going to showcase a full high-end flame team composition in Bygone Phantasm. We are going to be using Ruby at 6 stars advancement and at full 3-star matrices. For Cobalt-B, we're going to use 6 stars advancement as well and full 3-star matrices. And for the third weapon, we are going to use King with a King and Shiro matrix. So I know that this is a whale character progression, but I just wanted to try it out because it's here in the test server, so why not? And also so that I can share some info before you decide to commit on Ruby or anyone in this composition in particular. But yeah, still in this video, I'm pretty sure that you're also gonna learn a lot of stuff that you can actually use for yourself, because like there's no single approach to this game. We all have different setups, so we just have to get more information and use them as we see fit. But don't worry, I'm gonna try to upload another video on a relatively lower character progression as well, so make sure you follow me and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're interested so that you won't miss out. I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna spend time on that for you guys. So here we will be using a level 60 character with about 18,700 flame attack. This is without buffs and about 70% crit rate. I believe this is still achievable. I do have some friends and crewmates who have this kind of progression. And here are the gears that I'm currently using. I enhanced them to level 30 already. So before we go into the actual run, let's do some quick rehearsal so that I can show you what's going to happen and how we intend to play this composition. Okay, usually we want to start with Ruby to get her skill going, and by doing this you will be able to deal more damage. So let's try it out. As you can see, we are reaching about 30k crits, 20k damage, and once we use that skill, we can already reach about 100k automatically just by doing that. And once we stock up all those buffs, it can reach up to 130k crits. So here are the buffs that we're getting. Lots of flame damage and lots of flame attack increase. Another option will be to start with Cobalt-B if you have one, especially at A6 or if you have the matrices. With this, you can initially inflict a high total damage burn before you switch to Ruby for the extra damage from her skill or discharge. Remember, her skill and her discharge gives additional damage based on the remaining burn damage that the target still has yet to receive. And once the enemy's shields are up, we want to shatter using King. The reason we want to do that is because King's A1 advancement burns the enemies for 120% of attack every second for 15 seconds. And so that means if you switch to Ruby and use her skill or her discharge, you're gonna get so much additional damage based on the remaining burn damage that the target has yet to receive. So currently, by default, it has about 45%, and the discharge as well has 45% additional damage. But if you reach A3, you're gonna get 75% of that additional damage. Here's an example of how a King's Shatter into a Ruby's skill dealt about 500k additional damage. Another reason is that King can actually deal huge damage and pierce through shielded enemies with A5 advancement. And of course, the A3 also helps with the damage output. Cobalt-B can also shatter, of course, but we kinda don't want to waste her skill on the shielded enemies, and she doesn't add as much utility as King. Oops, and don't forget about King's Matrix, which also grants damage boost for 25 seconds upon shattering an enemy. So overall, King for Shatter is kind of a big enabler now for Ruby and Flame Team comps overall. And Ruby kinda enables him as well because King's damage multipliers are also insane. So here's what's gonna happen next. Let's try to do some dry run, of course. For example, let's just continue hitting this one until we get a full charge and until our imaginary shield appears. So let's just do this, continuously attack. Now, if you have a discharge available, for example, the shield appears at this point, something like this, and then we're gonna try to break it with King into a discharge, into a skill, and now we have the second discharge, which will have the bonus damage from the burn. Alright, so that's what we are trying to aim here. And then after that, you can switch to Cobalt and burn the enemy again with a skill and some of the dodge attack. Then switch to Ruby again into another skill so that you can also take advantage of Cobalt's burn using the skill. So basically what happened there was that we had a full charge into a burn from King's Shatter, into a discharge of Ruby, and into another skill plus burn by Cobalt into the skill of Ruby to get that bonus damage. And also another thing that I usually do is, of course, use Dolly because you know, Dolly taunts the enemies so that you can avoid the damage. If you don't have the Fantasia yet, you can actually opt for to just continuously throw Dolly while hitting the enemies. So you can do something like slow and then Dolly and then another Dolly until you get the charge going on for another discharge from King. And be careful when using King's discharge because there is a lot of vulnerabilities there. You might get hit by the enemy. So what I usually do right now is just try to throw Dolly for the 1.5 second stunt on the enemies and just to group them up. We're gonna see how it works later on. And then once they are hitting Dolly already, that's where I'm gonna use the King's discharge. So I think that's gonna be enough already. So now let's take a look at how it works in actual in Bygone Phantasm. So, in before people telling me that that's a whale build, your video is useless, blah blah blah. I know there's gonna be some people like that. Oh my goodness, guys, please no, please no. Again, as I've said, I'll be making another video for the non-maxed out build. I already tried it. It's okay. This is a pure showcase with a lot of information and just kind of showing you the potential of the flame compositions now with Ruby in play. So yeah, just to sum up my experience in this composition, overall the gameplay is so great and explosive, and oh my goodness, you saw the video and wow, that's all I can say. So pull for them now. Just kidding. So yeah, and number 2, I believe King is a really great partner for Ruby. Cobalt is okay. I'm kind of not sure what else to use aside from Cobalt. I already tried Nemesis, looks okay. Huma maybe, I'll try more of them soon. So yeah, and I'll let you know. And number 3 for solo bosses, I think the composition is okay, but if you have someone like Claudia for the buff and Grievous debuff, could work as well. I tried it, but I'm not really a fan of Claudia's gameplay, so I stopped immediately. And there's gonna be some issues though in terms of survivability and sustain, so you really gotta master, especially if you're playing solo, you really gotta master using Go Dolly to control the enemies, and the slow as well for the skill for the Fantasia timing. And aside from that, I think it's fun overall. And so I also got a chance to compare it on the same floor with the current common Volt team, Samir, Nemesis, and King or Shiro. Of course, I tried my best to make the progression really close to each other. And so far, this is the farthest that I was able to get after trying so many times. And what I can tell you now is that the Flame team, I believe, has the advantage in terms of the overall damage output, but of course it would still depend on the floors, the enemies in the floor. There are floors that where it's gonna be hard to play the Flame team, there are floors where it's gonna be very easy. But what I can tell you is that on the lower floors they were pretty close, but as I went up further, like the 300 plus floors in Bygone Phantasm, the lack of Volt Shatter weapon is already becoming a problem for the Volt team. I haven't tried it with the Frost current available Frost team yet, but as far as I have I have really tried, King does not scale anymore due to the lack of the flame attack. So yeah, that's gonna be it for now, and see you in the next video. Again, thank you very much for watching.